Rick White is the founder and president of 180 Biz. He is a business turnaround and exponential growth expert who helps auto repair shop owners go from struggling to stay open to being recognized as the go-to shops in their market. He helps business owners with average shops transform their shop into the shop of the year in the aftermarket industry. Most importantly, he's taught thousands to not only make more money than they ever thought possible, but also have time to enjoy it with their families and friends, a true rarity in our industry. Rick has taught at some of the biggest conferences in our industry across North America. Out of a list too big to list here, he's taught classes for Apex, Vision, ASTE, ATSE, and ASA National and AASP National. Beyond associations, he's conducted training classes for WorldPAC and BG. He's been published many times over in the years in publications like Automotive Management Network, Ratchet and Wrench, Automotive News, and Auto Body News. He currently has a reoccurring column in the Automotive Management Network online. So that being said, Rick, we just want to thank you for being here today to speak to all of us.
And I tell you, after I listened to that, I'm like looking around to see who's talking. I don't know. That and $5 will get you a chai at Starbucks. So, let's get started. I'm really excited. Thank you for allowing me to come back. It's been a couple of months. I think it was October or November when I was here last. And I really enjoyed being here. So thank you so much for that. I'm looking forward to this. This is something that I really love to talk about. I'm going to share my screen right now. Let's see. That should work. So now hopefully y'all can see my screen and you can hear me okay. Is that correct?
We can see it, Rick, and yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so what we're going to do is today we're going to talk about the 8 responsibilities of a successful shop owner. Why am I going to talk to you about that? Because how many times have we heard we're supposed to work on the business, not in the business? We're supposed to, get out of the bays and get away from the front counters and really, just crank up our business. Well, I don't know about anybody that's here now or watching this later, but I can tell you for a fact that as I migrated from the shop, right, from the creeper to the front counter to the back office, each time was really kind of a reorientation, a reset for me. And the most painful one was when I finally became shop owner. I sat in my back office and said, okay, now what do I do? So what I'm here to do today is give you the 8 key responsibilities that you have. They're going to take your shop from being average or where it's at now to something that's really spectacular. Now, what I want to start off with is just this concept of we all wear hats throughout the day. That's what I call each different position we have to fulfill. It's a different hat. We have the owner and leader hat. We have the manager hat, the advisor hat, sometimes a technician hat. Oh, then there's the maintenance hat and the IT hat. The computer stopped working, the printer didn't, they needs cartridges or whatever. And there's a lot more. Let's talk about who's cleaning the bathrooms and doing the janitorial and running for the parts. And there's just so many hats. And the reality is you have a preferred hat. I don't know where that is. Typically, it's the one that you identify with the most and that you're most comfortable with. Doesn't mean you like it. It doesn't mean you want to be there, but it's where you're most comfortable, what you're most used to. And what happens is whenever you're stressed, whenever you don't know what to do, you're going to find yourself gravitating back to that hat. This is what we in management circles call the rut. What I want to do, because I want to keep you out of that, because the results you're going to get, man, they're going to be poor to really frustrating. And I want to get you out of that. So what I want to do today in our short time together is get you acquainted with these 8 different responsibilities so that you can start to look at them and see your business from a completely different perspective. Okay? So what I want to do is I'd like you just to close your eyes for a minute and think of a beautiful sailing ship, right? Think of this ship. Think of your business as this ship. You got the techs, man. They're there. They're swabbing the deck, right? Or they might be rowing the boat. You got that guy banging on a drum, and you got the techs rowing the boat at the same time, hopefully, right? You got the advisors making sure the deck is clean, or they're the ones banging that drum to keep the rowers in time. Then we got the manager at the wheel. They're steering the ship, avoiding the things they need to avoid, making sure the stuff is getting done where it needs to get done. And then the owner and the leader should be up in the crow's nest, setting the direction for the company, watching for opportunities and for challenges and obstacles. How much of your time is being spent at the wheel or the crow's nest? And I'm willing to bet that it's not a whole lot. And I'm also willing to bet that that's why your business isn't where you want it to be. See, these manager and owner positions, they're vacant, man. They're just begging for somebody to be there because, listen, if you aren't actively driving the ship, right, steering your ship, then you're allowing situations, circumstances, and events to do it for you. Well, nobody wants to do that, so why is it happening? It's happening because you're afraid to make a mistake. We're all afraid. Listen, mistakes are not fatal. Mistakes are not failure. Mistakes are lessons. Look when we went to school, we got taught something and then tested on that knowledge. Life is the exact opposite. What life does is it tests you first, and then it teaches you the lesson. But what happens is we put so much pain in the test, we don't learn and we don't grow. So I want you to get comfortable with falling down. I want you to get comfortable with failing. It is simply learning. That's all it is. The second reason you're not doing working either of these positions, because you're uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I'm going to sit there and I'm really uncomfortable. This is new behavior. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to talk to. And I just don't feel comfortable here. Let me go back to what I'm used to. We don't want to do that. The other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to alienate anybody. Man, I'm going to do this really bad. I'm going to do it really bad. And I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want anybody to leave my shop. I've got, it's so hard to find help now. I don't want to get anybody upset. But the reality is, if we go all the way back to infancy, when you were crawling around on that floor and you stood up and you took your first steps, you didn't get up and walk out to through the door. You didn't go for a run. You wobbled, you fell, and then you got up. And what happened? There were people all around you. Did they say, boy, you're stupid. You can't do that. Don't ever do that again. Just keep crawling. No. Each one of us has an expectation that baby is going to learn to walk, so we encourage them. But we've got to allow them to go through suck first. They've got to be really bad at it, and then they get better. And you've got to give yourself the same kind of patience and persistence. It's so important. And the next thing is, man, you don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. I'll go over here. I'll be more effective over here. I'll go back on the front counter. I'll make sure my advisors are doing what they're supposed to do. I'll go back out in the shop and turn a wrench because that's what I'm good at, and that's how I can add value to my shop. And I'm going to tell you straight up, anybody that's made this transition successfully, number one, probably hasn't done it on their first try. Second, once they've gotten over it, they recognize they make more money for their company away from in the business, right, at the counter or in the bay, than when they're on the business. It's so much better. Now, one of the things you got to realize that when you are in this situation, when you're feeling this way, okay, Brenda, can you mute everybody for me, please? And then maybe I'll unmute or whatever. Thank you. And I'm sorry, it's just that I'm getting feedback and it's hard. to continue. Okay, thank you. But what I want you to understand is through all of this, when you're going through these things, you are completely reactive. You are completely reactive. You're like, oh, this is happening to me, and what am I going to do about it? And look at this problem. And guess what? You start playing the victim. And in life, there's only 4 roles. There's only 4 roles that you can play in life. You're going to play the hero, the victim, the villain, or the guide. My goal today is to get you so that you're becoming the hero to your own story. So let's talk about how to fix this. What you're going to do is I want you to understand how to fix this. Again, number 1, your best teacher is the last mistake you made. Please embrace that. Please just hold that and recognize it as the absolute truth. Okay? I do these webinars all the time. I'm online. I'm doing trainings in front of people. I guarantee you, I've done this, man, Brenda, I can't even tell you, probably 1,000 times, right? Been in front of a camera and doing these things in live person, whatever, and I still make mistakes every single time. But I learn from them, and I hopefully am getting better as I go through. That my style and my presentation and my ability to connect and to present information that gets you going, wow, ooh, I never thought of it that way. That's my goal. So I embrace my mistakes. I realize they're my best teacher. You gotta really get comfortable with uncomfortable, because you don't get growth in the comfort zone. You have got to get, the growth is going to be on the other side of that. Okay. Now there's a couple of different things. You have the comfort zone, which is like this, and then you have the uncomfortable zone. And then I have what you call the lunacy zone. And sometimes we set goals out here and then stay in here because they scare us. We don't have to do that. We just got to get into the uncomfortable zone. Okay. And here's the last thing I want to make sure you understand. Your team needs a leader, not a pal. They don't need a friend. They want somebody that's going to give structure and require it and push them to grow and become the best versions of themselves. If you step back and think of any mentor you've had in your life, they have never been you, and they have either coaxed it or kicked it out of you. So please understand, it's not about being a pal. Do you care about your team? Absolutely. Absolutely you do. Do you care about your customers, your clients? Absolutely you do. We love them to death. But it doesn't mean I'm their pal. You know, it was funny. My daughter, how old is Sarah now? She's 28. When she was a senior in high school, she was having a pretty tough year. And at one point, she was very upset with me. I think at that point, she was grounded, lost her cell phone and the internet. And she looked at me one night after dinner and said, you know, you're not a very good friend. And I looked at her and smiled and said, my job right now is not to be your friend. My job is to help raise the best version of you I possibly can and get you to 18 in relatively one piece. Friends come later. It's the same thing at work. Please be aware. So a lot of times what happens is, man, you know, I got to find someone who can help. And guess what? You're in the right place. Glad to have you here. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do in the objectives, I want to identify the 8 key responsibilities of a shop owner. I want to show you what working on your business looks like, and then give you strategies to help you take your business to the next level. I'm going to go as fast as I can. I'm going to do everything I can to get any questions you have answered. So please, if you have any questions, you can go up. I believe you have the Q&A. You can put your questions in there. Just click on the toolbar at the top of your screen and click on the Q&A icon. You can type them in, write them down, whatever it is. I'm here to serve you. So what I want to start off with is we got to really understand that you're never going to be as successful as you possibly could working. You can't be as successful working on your business while you're working in it, right? That's the thing. You can't grow when you're working in the business. You've got to have what Michael Gerber called on time. You've got to have some amount of time etched out into your calendar where you're working on the business. Even if that's an hour to start off with, that's okay. An hour a week. That's great. Goal is by the end of the month to get it to 2 hours. You can do it. But here are the 8 key areas. We're going to start with vision and then talk about culture, attraction, retention, branding, awareness, growth, and the pace. Those are the 8 key responsibilities. So let's go into each one of them. See, what I want you to do is I want you to see your business as a bus, and you want other people in that bus with you. Now, to get them there, you need to know you've got a vision. They want to know where you're going, right? That's your destination and why you're going there. That's your purpose. So you really got to be crystal clear on your destination and your purpose. I see so many shop owners that are just looking for it. And I need to understand that will give you direction. It does not create destination, okay? When you have that vision, that destination to know where you're going and why you're going there, what you do is you develop, you get to learn what that map looks like, right? I mean, think about it. Who gets in their car in the morning, right, and leaves their driveway without knowing where they're going? That's absolutely ludicrous, but yet most shop owners do that every single day the moment they unlock the key to the shop, the door to the shop. Look it, man. It has to stop being SSDD, same stuff, different day. And you're going to do that by creating a destination, right? I don't care, if you're going in that car, you might be going to the church, you might be going to the store, you might be going to the gym, but you're going somewhere. You need to have the same thing for your shop. You've got to be going somewhere. It's got destination creates clarity. See, when you create clarity, you reduce confusion. You get everybody, instead of everybody being in their own little boat, you get everybody in this one big boat. And you say, guys, we're going this way right here. And by the way, we're going to get you over here, paddling on this side. You're going to paddle on this side. You're going to be in the back steering. This is where we're headed. It creates clarity. It creates blinders. It creates filters, right? Because it's just so cool, because the filter, now all of a sudden something comes up in front of you and you look at it and go, nope, it's not going to help me get there. Nope, it's not going to help me get there. Let somebody else do it. Or it's not worth it at all. When you lack clarity, the unimportant, everything seems everything that's unimportant seems urgent and important. So you've got to have that clarity. It establishes direction, right? It reduces the bing, bing, bing of just going all over the place because we're all going the same way, all right? It reduces, it's so cool. It generates excitement, right? It generates excitement. When you have people coming into your business every day, your team coming into your business, and they think they're there to do the same thing they did yesterday at the same level, the same rate, and everything else, we're lost. We don't know where we're going. It is so important. It boosts engagement. It gets people out of their complacency and gets them excited and moving forward. And I want to become better, and I'm going to do this with you. It increases cooperation because everybody knows where you're going. It reduces friction in a shop. You would be amazed at how much friction there is in a shop and how much it's hurting that shop every day. A destination requires growth. See, it reduces inertia. It reduces that, oh, I'm fine where I'm at. I know everything. Let me tell you something. The older I get, the more I recognize I don't know. I was told that that's an indication of a sign of maturity. I think my wife, Brenda, would argue with that, but it's true. I mean, when I was 20, I thought I knew everything. And here I am today, and I'm realizing just how little I do know. And then a destination, the other thing this destination's got to do is it's got to demand urgency. So you got to put a timeline to it, because when you have a timeline, a deadline on it, what it does is it reduces the lack of focus. That urgency keeps you focused. Look, I'm going to give you a really strong story about why. If we were, this pandemic's all over, right? And you guys have me over for ATE, and we have this beautiful cookout. And while I'm there, don't ask me how, but I got 2 cinder blocks there in this 12-foot long 2x12, and it was my carry-on luggage. And I put it down in the yard, and I said, hey, Brian Kelly, listen, I'm going to put this 2x12 on top of these 2 cinder blocks. I want you to walk from one end to the other end. And if you do that for me, what I will do is I'll give you $100. There's almost nobody in here that would say, oh man, that's easy. Let's do it. That's $100. It's real easy. So now let's go into the city, and we're going to find 2 buildings 12 feet apart. They got a little alleyway in the middle, 10 stories high. And I'm going to put that same 2x12 between the 2 buildings. And I'm going to say, Brian, get up on this side, walk across the other side. I'll give you $100. Most people are going, not going to happen. And I'm like, why not? It's $100. Yeah, it ain't enough. Oh, it was good enough back at the cookout. What the hell, man? What's going on? No way, man. There's too much risk here. I'm not doing it. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine just for a second, same scenario, right? The 2 buildings, the 2x12 going across. You're on one roof. On the other roof, you have this beautiful baby girl. She's 3 years old. Just the apple of your eye. Beautiful blue eyes, curly hair, biggest smile, man. Her smile lights up her room. And she's over there crying, and the building's on fire. And the only way you can save her is to go across that board. Now, how many, just show of hands, would go across that board right now? Right? I'm terrified of heights. I'm actually not afraid of heights. I'm not even afraid of falling. It's the landing kind of got me concerned. But I'll tell you what, I'm going over. I'm going to get that child. I'm going to bring that child back, and then I will throw up. Okay? That is the power of why. Your destination is fantastic, but you got to have a powerful why. You got to have something so powerful that it moves you to take action. That makes sense? I hope it does. Okay. So now what we want to do when we're in this situation like this, why are you going there? Right? The purpose, your why, they help you deal with challenges. They help you get back up quicker when you fall down. And I guarantee you're going to fall down. I was talking to somebody last week, and they said, I want to succeed twice as fast. I said, fail twice as often. It's the truth. But what you've got to do is your destination has got to be a must. It can't be something you want. It can't be something you wish for. It can't be something you dream. It can't be somebody else's idea. It can't be a vague, something vague that you're just not sure of. Hey, I want to do it because, why do you want to do $1 million a year? I don't know. Everybody else is. That's what everybody else says. That's never going to happen. Be like my client who had a shop for 3 years, working 2 jobs. He would open the shop. He would work at the shop till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He would leave the shop, get changed, and then he was an EMT dispatcher from 3 o'clock to midnight. He'd go home, eat dinner, watch a little TV, go to bed about 2, and he was back up and at the shop typically between 5 and 6 in the morning. And we started coaching. His goal, someday, he said to me, I want to just be able to work the shop. We did it in 7 months because we built it into a must. Okay? But here's the thing. You got to be careful when you're sharing your vision, you're talking about it. You got to beware. I'm going to tell you right now, if money is your destination and your purpose, all you're ever going to end up with is a team of mercenaries. Okay? It will not work because these people will leave you for the next shop that's willing to pay just a little bit more. You want to have something that ties people to you. You might want to, it might be the ASPCA. It might be, there's a shop out in, I think it's Wisconsin, that supports battered women shelters and such like that. You need something that makes a difference, something where you can make the world a little bit better. Look, man, money's a great thing. I love money. Okay? Now let me rephrase. I love what money can do for me. Okay? Brenda and I are giving people. We love to give of our time. We love to give of our gifts as we're able. And the more gifts we get, the more we're able to give. You can do the same thing. It's all about passion, right? Your destination can be self-serving. It can be freedom, security, etc. But you've got to get passionate about who you're going to serve and what you're going to deliver. And then you've got to be able to communicate it simply and frequently so that your team gets it. It's a battle cry. So that's our first key area we need to work on, right? Is the destination, the vision. Second area is the culture. You need to intentionally create an environment that is engaging, energizing, and encouraging for your team. All right? Don't let the word culture confuse you. You know, everybody thinks it means being like Google and having foosball tables and masseuses come and, you know, having these beanbag chairs that you can go and play with anytime you want. And that's absolutely not the case. Don't try to be like Google or anybody else. Be yourself. But be true to yourself and create an area where it's engaging, where your team comes in and they look forward to coming to work because they're going to grow and become a better version of themselves. Bring the best version of yourself to your business every day that energizes your people and gets them motivated and pumped about what they're doing, who they're doing it for, and why they're doing it. And be there to encourage them. If your people are doing something new and learning all the time, they are constantly in that uncomfortable zone, and they're going to have fear and self-doubt and uncertainty. And you have to be that calm voice in the storm that says, I believe in you. You can do this. This is so important. Culture is simply how you make it feel to be a part of your team. That's all it is. It's the environment that you got. Look at, if you get upset, everybody makes a mistake, and then you come to me and tell me you're surprised that nobody tells you when they make a mistake? Come on. You know, I had a daughter that was dating this guy, and the guy didn't call. And she got all kinds of upset when he finally did call, and she was beating him up and beating him up and beating him up. And I'm like, sweetheart, he's doing exactly what you want him to do, and you're giving him a hard time for it. Do you understand how that's not going to work? You have got to create a place where it's safe. Talk about how you felt, but make it safe so that he wants to come in, so that he wants to engage with you and be a part of your life. It's the same with us in our business. But here's the thing. This has got to be intentional. There's a culture built every day. The issue is it's built around the dynamics you have with your current team. You need rules of engagement within your team that identify the values that you're going to live and communicate by together. That's an amazing thing to do. So this is the second area, culture. We have multiple sessions on culture that would be happy to do at some other time. But this is what you got to do. You've got to be able to create an environment that attracts the best people to it, where people come in and see the level of equipment and training and caring and activities that you do and stuff like that all the way through. And they say, holy crap, I want to be a part of this. Where they're coming in and saying, please, can I fill out an application when you're not looking? That's the gift of culture when you got it right. The third area we got to do is attraction. You got to be able to attract the best people. And this is why, do you see how destination's the first thing? I gotta know where I'm going so I can get people excited about it. I got to be able to have the culture, the environment that they're going to say, wow, I want to be here. And then I got to be able to attract the best. But here's what's stopping you. The stories that you're telling yourself. Look, there's no good help out there. I can't afford to pay someone what other people are paying. I can't afford to offer the benefits that they are. These are all limiting stories, and they are all untrue. They're all completely untrue. You've got to get creative. They're not going to work the way you are doing things now. Let's face it, there's no good help out there. That's crap. They're out there. They just don't know about you. And you haven't given them a great reason to come. Listen, I'm going to say this very, very simply. Attracting help to your business is like going fishing. You got to know three things. Three things. First thing you got to know the fish you're going after, right? If I love trout fishing, I am not going to go trout fishing in a lake. Sorry, we had a pesky varmint. I'm not going to go trout fishing in a lake. That's not where they are. I love going for brooks and brownies and rainbow trout. They're in rivers. So, okay, I know what kind of fish I want. That's great. Second thing I got to know is where they are. So again, I'm not going to go to a lake river. And not only that, I'm going to go to the website and I'm going to find out where they stock the rivers, because now I know there are trout there. And then the third thing I got to know is what kind of bait to use. What's going to attract them to my hook? It's no different with bringing people into your team. You've got to know what they're looking for. So here's the truth. Great people exist at other shops. They just haven't heard of you. How do you get them? You stand out. You stand out with a great compensation package. Doesn't have to be head and shoulders above the rest, but I am of the firm belief that technicians should be getting between $100,000 and $150,000 a year. And guess what? Advisors should be doing the same thing. Now, let's talk about what they got to give us to get there, right? This ain't a one-way street. It's a give and take, right? So that's what we want to do. Get a great compensation package in there. Have benefits that nobody else does. Create conditions in your shop that are superior to anybody else's, whether that be equipment or environment. I have shops in Florida that I've talked into air conditioning their shops because 9 months out of the year, it's hotter than a blowtorch down there, and they need something to keep it, the temperature down and the humidity down in the shop a little bit, and their productivity goes up so much that the investment in the AC units got recovered in 9 months. Pretty cool. And then the last thing that we got to have to attract the best is a great reputation, right? The great people are not going to go work for second-rate team. If you've got double standards where you got one person that you're only holding to this to a level here, and you got this new person you're holding to a level here, they're not going to stand for it very long. You got to have the same standard throughout the shop, the same standard of excellence and quality and caring. So the third thing you got to do is attract. The fourth thing you got to do is retain your team, right? You've got to keep the players you got. You got some good players. You want to get it so that they can't be taken away. How do we do that? The first thing you're going to do is care for them. I call this the 3 C's. You're going to care for them. You're going to mentor them. You're going to appreciate them. You're going to uncover what their dreams are, both professionally and personally, and you're going to help them achieve them. You're going to put them on a path. You're going to teach them how to create goals and to work them and achieve them. And you're going to have their back. I can't tell you the number of shop owners I talk to that say, I wish my employees, and that's part of the problem, I wish my employees had my back. I wish they'd go the extra mile. They're not going to do it until you do. You first. So you got to care for them. Second, you got to connect. You got to define your values. You got to live your rules of engagement. You got to communicate all the time. Just when you think you're sick of saying it, that's just about the time they're going, oh, that's what you mean. So you got to connect, and we're going to connect through communication, and we're going to connect through caring as well. And then the last thing we got to do is we got to challenge them, right? We got to help them grow. We got to see them We got to help them see themselves as bigger and better than they are. And that could be personally, professionally. I had a couple of techs when I had the shop that wanted to buy houses. So we set it up. We had lunch and learns put together at the shop, and I had a mortgage broker come in one month, and I had a real estate agent come in the next month, and we talked about all these different things. I had a home inspector come in, and we helped them understand what the process was. What did that do for the shop? Nothing. What did it do for the shop? Everything. Because these people recognized that I was there to help them achieve their goals. Nobody goes to work at your shop to achieve your goals. Your job as the leader is to help them see how by helping you achieve your goals, they're going to achieve theirs. And it's not always money. So the next thing we got to do is embody what I call CANI, and I got this from Tony Robbins. CANI stands for constant and never-ending improvement. How are we going to be just a little bit better today? If you're 1% better today than you were yesterday at the end of the month, you're about 26 or 27% better. That's pretty cool. The next thing you got to do when you challenge people to push them and grow, you've got to keep it safe. They've got to be allowed to make mistakes. They got to be allowed to break things and learn things. That's where the teachable moments come in. I don't have a problem with somebody doing something wrong once. I might not even have a problem twice. It's when I see a trend, that's when I sit down and have a conversation, because now it's not a mistake, it's a choice. So does this make sense? You got to retain your team. You got to keep your best players. Next, we got to create and protect your brand. What is your brand? The brand is simply the product you deliver and how it feels to do business with you. It's the quality of the service you bring to the table, as well as the experience you allow your customer to go through. That's what creates your brand. So how do you create a brand? It's very, very easy. You set a standard. You set a standard for the quality of the work. You set a standard for the experience your customer is going to receive. That's really all there is to it. And I'm telling you right now, you have a standard in the shop, and it's a very good chance you're not the one setting it. Anything that you're tolerating, that's your standard. See, your standard isn't what you talk about, it's what you tolerate. So what you've got to do is really identify, define what these look like, get crystal clear on both of these standards, and then you've got to get absolutely fanatical about it. Okay? You've got to get completely fanatical about it, and then it's all about getting your team fanatical about it as well. Right? Now, if I have a clear destination and I have a really great purpose, and how I tie everything together so they understand that the standards we're setting is to help us get to this destination and the reason why, and it's important to them, they're going to adopt the same thing. They're going to become advocates for the business. And that's exactly what we want, isn't it? Next, we're going to create, when we're creating our brand, you got to be intentional about this, right? You got to have everything orchestrated at the highest level. You got to be different. You got to stand out. You got to control how you respond. You got to use setbacks to get better, right? When you have a problem with a client, you use that opportunity to show how much better you are than other people. You know, you don't want to be like other shops. Man, stop trying to be like everybody else. Be yourself. Everybody else is taken. You know, don't look up at some guy that's doing more money than you. Go, oh, I want to be just like him. No, you want to achieve what he's achieving while you're being you. God made you exactly the way you are for a reason. Be you. Don't be proper. Don't be professional. People don't want to deal with a robot. Be yourself. Be authentic. Be transparent. I hope you can feel that coming through right now with me. I'm just being me, man. And hopefully you like it. Hopefully you're digging what I'm talking about. That's what I want. But you got to be consistent at the same time. You've always got to deliver the same level of quality and experience no matter what. No matter what. You can never let that standard slide. Do we have problems? Do we have shortcomings, shortfalls? Absolutely. The goal is to catch them before they leave. Now, how do you do this? What I want you to do is I want you to list all the customer contact points. Then I want you to pick one of them, one that you feel like you could make a really good improvement on. I want you to identify what the current condition is. I want you to define what the desired outcome is. And then I want you to determine the process that you're going to use. What you do is reverse engineer it. If I want to be here, I got to do this, 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 and this to get back to where I am. Makes it much, much easier. Once you have that plan in place, implement it. And then watch, pay attention. Is it having the desired outcome or effect that you want it to have? If it is, fantastic. Get it to be muscle memory with everybody, and then pick the next customer contact, right? Or the client contact. I don't like the word employees, and I don't like the word customers, and I'm exorcising them from my vocabulary slowly and painfully. So customers are one and done. Clients are forever. Okay, so Brian, thank you very much. I'm really glad there'll be a recording so you can catch up. But good luck. Take care. So now, once we got this, next thing we got to do is we're not going to protect our brand. We're going to create it, and now we're going to protect it. And the way we're going to do that is by being obsessed. Not just you, everyone. Everyone in your store is absolutely obsessed about the product and experience that you're going to deliver. You want to ensure constant training, monitoring, and improving. Like a great time to do this is when you have a new hire come in, you get the whole team together and let them do the training. Let them show it how it's done. You watch. And not only does the new person learn, but you're reinforcing your message with the people you already have. That's awesome. Then, right, you got to walk the talk. It's really as simple as that. You got to absolutely walk the talk. You are the leader. Okay? All right. Next one we're going to do is we're going to generate awareness, massive awareness of your business. Why? Because listen, your business, I know it's a huge part of your life, right? Because of that, you expect everybody to know it, but I guarantee you there are people driving by that don't even know you're there. Okay? And here's the thing. This really does happen. This happened one time with me. I had a client call, a new client, had a check engine light, and the name of the shop was Tremont Street Garage, still is actually. And I said, we're on Tremont Street. I said, you know where we're located? He goes, well, I'm going to guess Tremont Street. And I said, yes, we're between the fire station and the car wash. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, yes, I am. And he says, no, you're not. And I said, yes, I am. And he goes, no, you're not. And I said, look, how are you coming down the road? He says, I'm going by the fire station first. I said, as soon as you see the fire station, put your directional on, turn right after the fire station. I said, unless there's been a really strong wind, and I'm talking like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz kind of wind, I promise you the shop will be there. And he pulled in and came into the office laughing, saying, Rick, I've been driving by here for 10 years and never saw the shop. Now, keep in mind, we added gardens all over the property. We changed the sign twice. We hot topped the parking lot, and we painted the building. He never saw it. So we've got to depend on something else to get us there. But here's what I'm willing to wager. I'm willing to wager that your marketing is pretty scattered. There's not a consistent message going through. You've got to have the same message all the time, knowing who your ideal customer is, knowing what that message is going to be that resonates with them, and then using the right method to get in front of them all the time. It could be social media, print, mailings, emails. There's all different kinds, networking. There's just a plethora of different kinds. And we have a great class called Marketing on a Shoestring Budget, where we go through all of this for half a day. But there's scattered marketing. What you need to know, right? First of all, what you got to do to get massive awareness in your business, number one, is you got to believe that not everyone knows you're there. That's the first part. The second thing you got to understand is that marketing is simply a promise. Marketing in its truest form is a promise where you're identifying a pain that your ideal client has, and you're going to position you as the solution. That's all it is. You got to understand that generating massive awareness means building trust, right? It's about connecting with people, caring about them, and showing credibility. And, let's face it, social media right now is the best way to do this. It's fast, it's easy, it can be really well done. And then after we do that, man, you got to act massively to market your message. You want to flood the market with your message. You want to do it intelligently, take massive action by knowing who your ideal customer is, knowing the message that's going to resonate and attract them, and the best method of getting in front of it. And then you own it all and you take action no matter what. So this is the sixth area that you want to work on your business with. The seventh area is you got to grow your team. We can't have same stuff, different day anymore. I hope you've heard that. I hope you heard that. Same stuff, it creates disengagement, and it causes a revolving door. Because I'm not excited, I'm not challenged, and I'm not engaged here, I'm going to find some place that appreciates me. There's a better way. There's a better way. And that is the concept of continuous improvement. What you do is you set the expectation of growth during the hiring process. You let people know. I used to tell them all the time, you can write this down, you can steal it. Listen, John, I'm not hiring you today for what you can do today. I'm hiring you for what I believe you can do tomorrow. Right? We want them to be better than they were yesterday. The second thing we got to do is create a personal development plan for each team member. Now, we have an amazing webinar series called the Pocket Business Genius Series. It's very, very affordable. I think it's $29 a month. You get in, you get a monthly webinar with us live, second Wednesday of each month. And then there's a library of webinars. I think there's 45 or 50 of them at this point. And you can go back and, as long as you're a part of the group, go back and watch them with your team and everything else. There's everything covered: sales, marketing, management, all of it. Now, once you understand continuous improvement with Grow Your Team. Oh, and the reason why I brought that up is we have a webinar specifically on the personal development plan. So if that's something, let us know. Okay. But in order, once you get the continuous improvement down, you've got to become the catalyst for growth. You're waiting. I guarantee you're sitting there waiting for your team to get better. Like they're going to wake up one morning and a lightning bolt is going to hit them in the head and they're going to go, oh my gosh, I've got to get better at work. It's never going to happen. You have got to be that catalyst, and your expectations create the tension that make that catalytic opportunity possible. Now, the reality is you can't make anybody do anything, right? My poor wife has tried. She's got to go to heaven free card when she dies, because that poor woman is living hell on earth right now. Okay? I'm telling you, you cannot make anybody do anything. All you can ever do is influence them. And the higher the trust between the two individuals, the higher the ability to influence, the better the ability to influence. So what are we going to do? You're going to set goals with deadlines. You're going to create a ruler. You're going to hold them accountable, and you're going to give feedback every single day. That feedback, what I call it is toolbox talks with the techs and counter chats with the advisors. Let's talk about those questions. Hey, man, what did you do great yesterday? I'm assuming we're having this talk the next morning. What did you do great yesterday? What was a win? Okay. What could have gone better, right? What did you learn? Where do we learn? We learn from our screw-ups, right? Someone once said to me, Rick, you're very wise. And I said, you know where wisdom comes from, right? And they said, no, where? I said, experience. They said, really? I said, yeah, you know where experience comes from? And they said, no, where? I said, mistakes. I've made a ton of mistakes. The difference is I sat back and I went, ooh, that hurt. Let me never do that again, and figured out what it was. So what did I screw up yesterday that I could have done better? Third question. What are you going to do today to make it better than yesterday? Pretty cool 3 questions, isn't it? Gets them talking. Listen, if I go up to you, Brenda, and at ASA, and I say, Brenda, yesterday you did this wrong, and you did that wrong, and you did this wrong, Brenda's going to come back, and either she's going to push back, she's going to get defensive, she's going to freeze, or she's going to disengage. That's it, right? But if I say, Brenda, what could have gone better yesterday? And she brings it up, now we can talk. Now we can have a conversation. Does that make sense, Brenda?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you want to know what the 4th question is? There's a 4th question, and it's awesome. How can I help? I am your mentor. I am your facilitator. I am here as a resource to encourage, push. You know, I read this book. If you ever want to read a great book, it's called The Servant by James C. Hunter. And he has in the beginning a great line that where he says, great leaders hug hard and they kick hard. And I think that's amazing. But here's the thing. Every person has got to have a goal, the goal of this conversation is a clearly defined action plan with specific expectations. Okay? We're walking away. It's not agreement. A lot of people think, you know, I'm going to come to Brenda and say, hey, Brenda, you're doing this. And she's going to say, no, I'm not. And I'm like, yeah, look over here. This and this happened and this happened. And she goes, oh, man, I see it. You're right. And they go, okay, great. That was a great talk. And we walk away. Guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. Now that we get agreement is not the end of the conversation. Agreement is the beginning of the conversation. Brenda, what do we do about it? What do you think might be causing it? What are some ideas that we can push back and forth that might help us, you know, overcome this or get better at it? What do you think? Okay, great. And now that we have those thoughts, which one do you think is the best one to pull the trigger on today? What's the plan? Okay, so Brenda, if I understand correctly, you're going to do this today. I'm going to do this. And this is the expectation we should be seeing tomorrow. Is that right?
Gotcha.
Fantastic. Fantastic. You let me know how I can help. Okay? So you got to grow your team. That's the 7th responsibility of a great shop owner, a successful shop owner. 8th is you got to set the pace. I need you to recognize that you are the leader of the shop. You are the one who sets the tone and energy for that day, and you are either going to bless people or you are going to infect them. You're going to be a vitamin or you're going to be a virus. I had someone come to me recently and says, man, I can't believe, you know, I just can't believe how unexcited and how unpassionate my people are. Well, how excited are you about the business? You know, I'm really tired of it. Duh. Let me fix you. Let me help you with this. What's that? Get your head out of your butt. Right? If you're not excited about it, how's anybody else going to be excited about it? You have got to recognize that whatever you see in your team is a direct reflection of what you're bringing to the business every day. So what I need you to do is set the pace of the business. Now, that would really, I could stop right there and that would make sense. But PACE is an acronym. When I say PACE, I mean purpose and passion, activity and accomplishment, commitment, level of commitment and caring, level of energy and expectation. You've got to be doing that every single day, and you've got to be intentional about it. You can't just, you can't just walk into work and go, okay, I got to be good, I got to be good, I got to be good, I got to be good. No, man, you got to be good before you leave the house, right? You got to be good before you leave the house. Yeah, but Rick, stuff's going to go wrong during the day. Yeah, but how many of you sit in the driveway at home and wait for all the lights to turn green before you go to the shop? Guess what? We're going to hit some stuff. Not in the car. That's please don't hit stuff, right? This isn't a video game. We can't do that. All right. Look, here's the thing. In conclusion, it's always the best in the whole world, right? In conclusion, look, can you see now that getting out of the shop or off the front counter doesn't mean you'll have nothing to do? What this does is it separates those from surviving to thriving. It's all about working on your business and not in your business. And I'm going to ask you a question, and this is going to be a tough one. Take a picture of this slide, please. I'm going to ask you to look at these 8 different items And I would like you to put a percentage of time, not the hours, just a percentage of the time that you're investing in each one of these areas now. If you're like most, I think you're going to find it's pretty anemic. Now, I'm not expecting you to like, Rick, man, I got a business to run. I can't stop and just do all this stuff. I get it. Remember, I'm the guy that said, look, own time, on time. You just got to get 1 hour a week to start with. 1 hour a week. If you don't have an hour now, that hour can change your business. And here's how. What you're going to do is you're going to look at these 8 areas. Which one of them needs your attention the most right now? Okay? Pick that one. And then I want you to answer this question. What the hell are you going to do about it? Use that hour. Okay. There we go. I'm done.
Rick, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I learned something. That was awesome. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. And, Rick has actually come to ATE. He was a keynote speaker one year and put on a couple classes for us. And Brenda came up and we got to meet both of them. And so
Had a good time. Looking forward to getting back out there.
yeah.
Todd,
Aren't we all?
you're very welcome.
Aren't
Does
we?
anybody have any questions? I'd be happy to answer anything.
Yeah. You can either put it in the chat or you can just unmute yourself and ask a question of Rick right now.
Absolutely. Carl Kukui Coleman. I'm hoping you work for Kukui and that's not actually your parents being really not liking you.
Yeah, I had to find a company with the same name as my middle name.
Well, you got KKC, thank God, right? I mean,
That's right.
yeah, it could have been bad. So that's awesome.
Okay, well, hey, thanks everybody, and have a great day. And we will see you on the 11th of next month for our lunch and learn. And thanks
Thank
again, Rick. Good to
You're
see
very
you,
welcome.
Brenda.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.